Huh.
Hey guys, it's Dane at Jonah Guitars, and I got a brand new build series I'm going to start uploading. It's about this guy right here, the GECKO, and all of the whole process of building will be covered. It's going to be a very complete series. So I hope you join me, and we'll see you there. All right, well, we're going to start carving this neck. And just grab it off of here for a second. I made this beam, I don't know how long ago, quite a few necks back. I was, I think it, well, I'm not sure. It was obviously a tip back type headstock. It might have been the Les Paul that I was building, I forget. But it's tapered. This board is tapered, so at this point it's like the same width as a neck, and then back up at this end it's the same width as a neck, so it tapers the same. So probably from about 1'11", maybe it's 1'5", I don't know, up to around 2 1/8 or 2 3/16. I might have gone a little wider. When you have a neck on it, and this isn't a good representation because this neck isn't all the way up because it's a straight. So here's the problem. When you have a straight headstock, well, it's going to be this way. So I have carved a series of necks on this, and with straight and with angled headstocks. Now, even when the headstock doesn't match perfectly on the angle, I'll run it up in here, but then I'll pat it and I'll clamp it just to where it, you know, doesn't put weird stress on the thing. Now, in this situation, I'm going to push it back off of this bevel because I don't want to be jamming the tip of that headstock into it. And I'll block it here, and that's where I'll clamp it. I also run a pad here and at the end here, this sort of stuff, and then that will I'll get get it clamped down. I like having it out here away from the bench. I like it that it's somewhat sturdy. It's actually sturdier if you have a tip back, and you can slide this further back on the bench so you have more clamping going on there. If I well, I might at some point anyway. I may just pop that off of there. It's just glued on, and then just make wedges according to what guitar I'm working on, as to whether or not I need a 14 degree or a 10 degree or nothing, or just a block under the headstock. And then I can move it all down farther where this narrow part is, and then that'll line up better that way. But for now, I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to clamp this thing down and carve it. And I'm going to set the camera up for that, so that obviously I can work. We'll try it in this position and see if you can really tell what's going on over here or not. I'm not sure. I got about 37 minutes left on this card. There again, I'm not sure how long this will take. Got the pad there. Move it back a little bit so that I don't ram that into anything. I've got a block with a couple pieces of sandpaper. This sandpaper has been glued on to blocks and stuff, so it still has a residue, so that once I get it clamped, it will be, probably will end up sticking down to this those blocks, so I don't have to worry about things sliding around. Trying to make sure that I don't have, that I'm not clamping it down to this board, and because of the way I'm pushing it against here and against where the nut would be, that I'm tweaking the board, into a convex or concave direction there. So don't want to carve it, and if it's in an arc of some sort, and then it would be it wouldn't be straight without the tension on it. So I think we're going to be just fine. Yeah, we're good. I know I've mentioned in other people's videos and their comments that that carving the neck is the fun part of the whole deal, and or I've agreed with people who have said it in their videos, and it is the fun part. I mean, it's all fun, right? What would be the point? So I have drawn a center line down this. I'll move you around as needed, I guess, so you can kind of see what's happening. You can actually see that center line there now. So I've drawn a center line, and been talking about this neck getting a V carve, although I ended up, I'm kind of thin. It's 11/16 from the fretboard to the back of the neck here, so that's a little on the thin side. I've done some thinner than that, and I've done some thicker. So I'm not sure that a V is, if I got enough meat in the neck to do a full-on V. I think maybe I should have left a little more meat in the neck if I really wanted to do a V. But what I do want to do is go slightly asymmetrical. So I'm going to do a secondary line right about here. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to be aiming for this center line from the bottom. If you have that in your hand, it would be underneath. And I want to end up with a little more meat on the top than on the bottom. So a bit of an asymmetrical carve there. I'm out of screen here, I think. I'm going to pretty much just parallel that line, maybe a little wider. Well, you know what, I will just start. I'm just going to parallel that stripe in the wood there. And I threw my and throw it. I put the straight edge away, so I'll just use this piece of wood that we cut out of the back of this neck as a straight edge. It actually works very well for that. And I'll also use it when I'm checking to see how straight the neck is coming along. I'm going to darken up this center line. I've also purchased a couple files since the last time I carved a neck. And I'm going to be trying those out. I do a lot of times, just to do the quick rough part of things, I'll take my block plane and open this thread up a little bit. Maybe. Take my block plane and just slid my finger across the blade. That wasn't smart. And just, kind of rough down some stuff just to get going. There's lots of different techniques for doing this. Usually, we'll start right at the top, or up by the headstock, and then down by the bottom, by the body of the guitar, and we'll take and radius down to the fretboard. Your tentative shape that you're going to have in the neck. So you would just. This isn't a very good angle for that camera. I'm afraid that if I put it over here, over on this side of the neck, so you can see that right up close, and when I want to turn around and go down the side of the neck, the camera's going to be in the way. Well, pretty much just going to take this line, which is not on center. I'm going to file with that line. This is one of the files. This is called a Tecton. I don't know if that's it's just a Chinese. It's the hand cut files that don't have a kind of random tooth pattern. And the other file that I picked up, I've been wanting one of these for a long time, is the Shinto file, hacksaw blade file, they call them. And it's got a coarse and a fine side, and this file's got the radius side and the flat side. So I'm already down to the fretboard over there, so I'm just going to roll back to this line here. And that's pretty much where we want to be at this point. That didn't take very long at all. I'm going to flip around here, and that's why I have the camera where I have it, so that I can just get this from both sides. Now this neck is, I think we've talked about this, but it's made out of Spanish cedar, and then the center strip is lacewood. I had a couple pieces of some sort of rosewood. I had a couple random pieces of rosewood in the body too, and I just can't remember. I don't think this is Bolivian, because the Bolivian I have on the fretboard is much darker. So it might be Nara, but Nara is kind of red, so I'm not sure. Anyway, it was a piece of wood I had in the shop. And here it is. Now this one's rolling over all the way into the center line here on this side. And I'm not up to that fretboard yet, just almost done. So now I'm kind of close to the center line. Don't want to get right on it because I like the depth I have right there. I don't really want to get any thinner than I am. Alright. You can't see that. I have this cart down here right at the end of the bench that has all my pipe clamps in it, and it's kind of in my way. But we'll work with my left hand. And the same thing, we're going to roll over to the fretboard here, and then up to the center line. Oh, wait a second. You can't see that. I'll show you. Can you see the cart? Where's the cart? I guess I have to turn it. And never mind, we won't show you the cart full of clamps. So there's that. And I probably have my arm in front of you anyway, so you know, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to go over here, do this side. Nothing to keep me from just filing all of that the same way, though. Typically, as we get these notches in, and then we just take a bigger or more aggressive, even the flat Shinto, and just knock that down. Or I have a draw knife, but it tends to dig in sometimes, and you regret that. I do have a little draw knife, a little spoke shave, not draw knife, spoke shave. That is more like a, more like a plane, and you can have a little more control over that. Okay, so there's that. So I'm going to just put this one to this side. guys do neck carving, they'll start out, they'll have a little, gauges. A lot of kits or plans come with gauges you can cut out and, check your neck profile, different places on the neck. Wayne Anderson has a saying when people ask him, how do you build a guitar? He says, well, you pretty much cut away everything that doesn't look like a guitar. And that is my approach to neck carving. I kind of carve on the big side, and then I just keep working it down until I like the way it looks and feels. And haven't had any complaints yet. So, I'm going to pause you for a second. I got to go hunt tools. Okay, could have left it running, I guess, for no more than that took. So, here's the spoke shave gizmo. And one way it'll catch, and one way it'll actually cut correctly because of the way the grain run out is. This doesn't seem too bad here. Can't remember if I've ever done a neck on film before, so let me grab a couple other things. So before I had the Shinto and the Tecton, I used, and I may still revert to this, Sureform type tools. The round one here works good for the preliminary roll armor right here. It cuts fairly smooth, right like that. And then the big one, big flat one, it's really aggressive. It's a lot of material. And that's not a bad way to go either. And I may just carry on with that. Or actually, let me try the Shinto. I like that feels a lot. I'll have my head in your way, which is a beautiful thing. My head, that is. And I'm already down to the fretboard on that base side of the neck there. I'm just going to come around. Pull that off. I like this tool a lot, actually, and it removes this material really rapidly. So I got some little, I can feel some segments in that, and so basically if you just kind of go up and down with the grain, you can roll it as you go. Now I'm not to my line here yet, and I'm not to my fretboard yet. I'm also not down to my original radius where I rolled into the contour that I was shooting for. So I'm going to stay over on this side. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get a little closer to the line up here. Okay, I'm right there now. I'm going to flip this thing over and use the fine side and see what that's like. Now, it's real. I'm going to take my coat off. I turned my heater on and I'm standing right in front of it and it's starting to warm up in here. So take this off. I don't know how long I've been doing this. It says I've got 17. I either got 16 minutes into this or I got 4 minutes in. It must be the other way around. So I've been going about 16 minutes. And a lot of that was me yakking at you about setting up this. So I don't really have that much time into this as far as the actual carving. You can see carving the main shape of the neck doesn't take a great deal of time. I am going to flip it around here. I'm all out of cards too, so I'm going to have to go dump a card on my computer and then bring it back out and start again. So trying to keep track of actual time on this just so you have some sort of point of reference. Yeah. You keep checking as you go, and you want to make sure you don't have like any massive flat spots or anything weird going on. That you also want to read the grain if you're using planes or chisels, so you don't accidentally dig down too deep into your grain and pop something up, because that's just going to be a problem for you down the road. I'm back out just a little bit so you can kind of see the whole thing. I'm hoping you can kind of get a feel for what's happening here from the angle that this camera's set up at. It's pretty straightforward to do Well, I had unplugged it when I was doing the handheld on this, so the battery just went dead. And it does say now that I have 14 minutes left. So I was at 20, what did I say when we started? 27 or something. So, we're a little bit into this. I am going to flip around here. I don't know. I saw a little sign on it that said low battery. So whether it stopped recording at that point, but I mentioned that it's easy, fairly straightforward to do a C shape. Because really, if you're not doing the little bit of an offset on the center line in the back, then you're just coming from the center line. It just rolls. It's pretty straightforward. And I'll probably use the technique anyway, which is taking sandpaper and going over the neck this way, and that kind of trees up all your radiuses and makes everything feel really nice. So I'm going to hit this. I'm really liking this file. It's pretty aggressive, and you know what though? I'm going to try this one on the flat side. I got to keep looking at it. Tecton. And I'll tell you what. It looks really aggressive, but it's not. And so the rough side of the Shinto is really goes after it. just changing the angle a little bit at a time and going all the way up and down. And just back at it. So I'm trying to roll it over into the center line. And I'm only just hitting this this dark line here. I haven't hit the center line. I'm still lower here and here than the rest of it, and haven't hit the fretboard yet over here. So I'm gonna hit it from this side. Flipping over to the finer side. I'm going to pause you for a second. My text just went off. I'm expecting somebody on a setup. All right, back to this. Okay, it's all the way down to the fretboard, most of the way, and I will roll up onto the fretboard a little bit with the radius so that there's not this big square edge there. It feels really good already. There's I don't have any humps or anything in it at all. I've got like a little square edge right here. If you do this sort of thing, you know that you can feel a lot more with your fingers than you can actually see. I'm still lower right here than the rest of this, so this has to come down some so that you don't have that notch there, but I wanted it down there anyway. That's where I carved originally. So we're going to take some of that out. The front is pretty good. It's still just a fuzz lower, which is good. Gives me some room to blend things. I'm right down to the fretboard on the top edge too, or the base side. I also have a little bit of I have a very distinct ridge right here because I just came up to that line and stopped. This one, since it was in the center, is rolled over a bit more. I don't feel an edge there, for right there. Now, I'm going to, for this part, I think I'm going to reset the camera and get you right at looking at the headstock.